Hello, I'm James Mann, welcome to my channel. I have been a flat Earth researcher since March 2018. I live an hour away from Fundy Bay, New Brunswick, and usually drive there in the dark so I can catch the sun as it hits the hills across the bay. I enjoy the sunrises at Cape and Rage, as I can do observations at the same time. From there I can make observations 43 miles looking southwest, and 30 miles looking northeast. Once the sun fun is over, I head to Dennis Beach where today's observations were recorded. Alote, 28 miles away, looking from an 80-foot eye level, all the way down to sea level, and I could not find a single inch of measurable curvature. This is Dennis Beach, New Brunswick. The hill is 80 feet high, the base is 60 feet at the bottom. Did you notice the 6-foot man watching me from the top of the hill? I would not have seen him if he wasn't wearing a bright orange safety vest. That's angular size and resolution at work from about 1,000 feet away. In the summer of 2014, our son visited us from Saskatchewan. While he was here, he brought my wife and I to this spot. It's Dennis Beach, New Brunswick, on the shores of Fundy Bay, Canada. The parking area is 80 feet above sea level with an open view of Fundy Bay. The beach is 60 feet below to 20 feet above sea level, and then 20 feet down to the beach. Today, I'm going to be walking down the gorge, instead of the hill, as the bottom of the hill fell away during the spring. It's no longer safe, and it wasn't all that safe to begin with. The gorge and the hill both start at 80 feet above sea level. The gorge is a bit steeper at the top, but then levels out for an easier walk. And they both lead to the beach. I prefer the hill as it has a wide open view of Fundy Bay. The gorge has trees that block my view. This video is part 1 of my morning, on April 20, 2023. I was doing a morning of observations showing a lack of curvature over a 70-mile stretch of water and land. Today's video is about Alote, a 328-foot high island on Fundy Bay, Canada. It was my first flat Earth proof in 2018. I thought it was the perfect way to celebrate 5 years of flat Earth research. In 2017, Eric Dubé responded to my question asking why NASA faked the 1969 moon landing. He said 2 words, flat Earth, and left a link to his 200 proofs for a non-spinning Earth. It reminded me of our creation story in Genesis chapter 1, so for that reason alone I watched his video. That was 5 years ago, so thank you, Eric. I really don't remember all the content in that video, however, when I reached the section about curvature and how to measure it, I got really interested. It was at that moment I remembered a tiny island on Fundy Bay. I could see this island from the parking at Dennis Beach, and I could also see it from the beach 80 feet below. Eric talked about Earth curvature calculators. I learned all I needed was my eye level or camera height along with the distance to a target. In this case, an island. That may have been the first time I used Google Earth. I found the island is called Alote, which is French for tall or high island. I learned the highest point on the island is 328 feet. And also used Google Earth to learn the island is 28 miles from where I was at Dennis Beach. I then measured myself to find I am 5.5 feet from the ground up to my eyeballs. Then I entered my eye level and the distance in an Earth curvature calculator. The result said there had to be 421 feet of curvature to a 328-foot high island.
Mainland Nova Scotia behind that point. That point is 90 feet above sea level, 328 feet in the center. The drop off is 60 feet. There's the mainland Nova Scotia, 46 miles away. And it keeps going further away, south and west. And look at the amount of land I can see. And there's no refraction.
Once home, I watched the clips I had captured. I noticed a blurry spot, so I went through frame by frame. It was a cell tower. An online search told me it was 63 miles away. As I continued through the clip, I found a second tower 66 miles away.
That's all Nova Scotia. Not sure if that's, no, I still see it. Still see it. Not sure about there. Look like some there, but
the first tower, 63 miles away from my 85.5 foot eye level, has to be blocked by 1,780 feet of Earth's alleged curvature. I could see down to the land it stands on. The second tower, 66 miles from my camera, and is supposed to be blocked by 1,993 feet of globe Earth's curvature, yet it isn't. Even the light at 1,043 feet above sea level should be blocked.
I don't see any more there. But let's go back to where I did see land right there. And I'll try to keep that straight and bring it back in until you can see the island. That's going to be pretty small. That's in the center of the screen. Look at that. There's the island, I think. Oh yeah, let's go back a bit further. No. Oh wow, that's ridiculous, that amount. Let's see if I'm still in the center or if it moved it. No, I still see land, and I still see land to the right. So, that's pretty cool. I don't think I'm going to chance walking down this hill today. I don't know if it's still a big drop off at 30 feet. Alright, I'll go down the gorge. I'm going to shut this off and put my stuff away and put my backpack on.
The red circle is highlighting the land, 46 miles away from Dennis Beach, where my eye level is 85 feet above sea level.
And it keeps going further away, south and west. And look at the amount of land I can see. And there's no refraction.
Notice this tower coming up. I definitely missed this while looking at the 3-inch camera display. I will get to that tower in a minute. First, I love it when I can look back and see God's hand guiding me.
That's all Nova Scotia. Not sure if that's, no, I still see it. Still see it. Not sure about there. Look like some there, but
as I was watching what I had recorded, once I got home, I noticed what looked like a puff of smoke. I went back and slowed the video down to a single frame at a time and found this cell or radio tower. Once I realized it was a radio or cell tower, I started researching to find where it is. I looked up towers in Nova Scotia, and found this one that matches the direction I was recording. It is on land more than 700 feet high. The tower is 530 feet high, standing on ground that is 750 feet, making that light about 1,230 feet above sea level. It is 66 miles to that tower from Dennis Beach, New Brunswick, with an 85.5 foot eye level. The light is 1,200 feet above sea level, 66 miles away, calling for 1,995 feet of globe curvature. It was pretty cool seeing that tower when I got home. There is no measurable curvature, because we don't live on a spinning ball in an infinite vacuum. Just the idea of an infinite vacuum is impossible. Think about it. A vacuum that is infinite. That means it goes on forever. Crap like that is why they taught it to us as children. Anyone using critical thinking would never have believed it. I measured along the coast from where the tower is, back to Port George. It is 22 miles, and it's 66 miles from the tower to my camera at Dennis Beach. Let's look at the towns along the red line from the tower in Port George. I zoomed closer on Google Earth so we can see the names of the towns. And let me show the distance from my camera to each town, along with the amount of expected curvature. Outram, 50 miles, 997 feet of curvature. Port Lorne, 51 miles, 1,049 feet of curvature. St. Croix Cove, 54.7 miles, 1,049 feet of curvature. Hampton, 56 miles, 1,331 feet of curvature. Finney's Cove, 58 miles, 1,452 feet of curvature. Young's Cove, 60.5 miles, 1,612 feet of curvature. Not one of the locations listed has land to match curvature demand. These distances are to the shore of the Nova Scotia mainland. When you look for land to match the demand for curvature, it can't be found. Curvature is globe model indoctrination, something you only believe because it was force-fed to you while you had no critical thinking skills.
But let's go back to where I did see land right there. And I'll try to keep that straight and bring it back in until you can see the island. It's going to be pretty small.
Watch that dark spot in the clouds as I bring that zoom back in.
Center of the screen. Look at that. There's the island, I think. Oh, yeah, let's go back a bit further. No. Oh, wow, that's ridiculous, that amount. Let's see if I'm still in the center or if it moved it. No, I still see land, and I still see land to the right. So, that's pretty cool. Alright, I'm at the gorge right now. Eye level 85.5 feet. We see both points on the island. Let's see how far we see.
Seeing both points of the island disproves curvature to 28 miles from an 85.5 foot eye level. I haven't even started walking down this hill and already the globe model is lacking curvature.
Not using the tripod when I'm walking down this gorge. Alright, that's about it there. It's a lot of mainland. Okay. 80 feet to the bottom. Here we go. It's wet today, so it may not be as loose as it is when it's dry. But this is, I'll get down here to where my eye level is, same as it was where my feet were. Right there, 80 feet, just a little below that. I'm sliding, but I'm going to keep going out like
From
this.
From 80 feet above
down.
sea level, looking 28 miles should have 193 feet of curvature, which isn't blocking the 90-foot point on the left nor the 60-foot drop-off on the right end of the island.
Really hard to keep steady with my feet slipping out from underneath.
The arrow is pointing to Port George, Nova Scotia, 46 miles away. My eye level is 80 feet above sea level. Earth curvature calculators say there has to be 819 feet of curvature, however, the land is less than 200 feet high. This means the 800 feet has to be further inland, which I have already checked. 800 feet is 51 miles away. That calls for 1,069 feet of curvature. There is no land even 1,000 feet high. And that's a problem for a globe model that requires curvature.
That's the mainland. Mainland, this is from 80 feet. Mainland, mainland, and that's about it. Alright, let's go down some more. I like to go down in about 10-foot increments, roughly. It's not exact because I don't have measurements, but now I'm at about 70 feet. Looking 28. 41 miles on this side of the island to the mainland, 28 miles to the island, 46 miles there, and that just keeps going further away. That's so cool. Alright, let's go down to 60 feet. I really don't have to do in the increments, but I do this to see when things disappear. That's 60 feet. Get my footing. Here we go again. Still mainland there. You still see that point, 90 feet.
228 feet of curvature should block everything below the bottom of the split, at 225 feet. Notice the mainland, 46 miles away at the end of the island. It's visible but has to be blocked by that same 228 feet of curvature, and we still see miles to the right which demands even more curvature. There should be 890 feet of curvature now, just to the shoreline 46 miles away. 800 feet is 51 miles away, which should have 1,150 feet of curvature. There is no land even 1,000 feet high on this line of sight.
I don't think I'd see that, but no, I can't see that. Well, I'll check when I get home. I still see it, yes.
Knowing what your target looks like helps. If I didn't know how that slope came down to 60 feet, I may not even have caught the drop off.
And the mainland, and draw back a bit. Mainland, oh, I think that was a flock of birds. Yeah, little flock. Still mainland. Really hard holding this camera up when it's fully extended. Down to 50 feet. Doesn't take much to go down 10 feet on this here. Alright, I gotta look through the trees on this one. Right here. Still see mainland. Still see that point. Not sure about that point, but there's mainland. Mainland, whoops, sorry. I keep this around my neck, the strap, and kind of use it to make kind of like a tripod to try to keep steady here. Alright, down to 40 feet. So much easier to walk on this when it's not frozen and icy. Okay, I'm right close to 40. I might be a tad above it, but I have these trees. I can't go down the hill. I have these trees to contend with, so I can only look through at certain points. There's the island. I'm pretty sure.
My eye level is 40 feet above sea level. This means I should encounter 273 feet of curvature. The top of the left point is 273 feet, so everything below the line should not be seen, if we lived on a planet Earth. The thing is, we see below 90 feet at the yellow line. Like I keep saying, I have been looking for any signs of curvature since 2018, and as you can see, curvature can't be proven. It's childhood indoctrination to hide God from children. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs 22:6. Those in control are doing exactly that, except they are hiding God, and teaching children a false reality, through public school indoctrination.
Still see that point. Not sure about the mainland there.
The same missing curvature applies to the other end of the island. We would only see 55 feet of the top of the island. Yet we can see below 90 feet. This is a wake-up call. You and I were abused as children, forced to attend government-funded public schools. Our true reality was stolen and replaced with something you could never prove, only believe. From my 40-foot eye level, looking past the end of the island to 46 miles where there should be 975 feet of curvature. There is no land even 900 feet high. Yet we keep seeing land, and it keeps visibly going to the right. Take the time and try to prove curvature. It will wake you up to the lies we were fed as children.
Mainland, I see mainland. And then there's mainland there. So I still see a mainland. Alright, down to 30 feet.
Remember, I showed that there was no curvature to the bottom of the island, while I was still at 85.5 feet above sea level. There should have been 185 feet of curvature blocking the 2 points that are less than 100 feet high. With a 30-foot eye level, looking past the island to the mainland 46 miles away, there would be 1,029 feet of curvature, just to the shoreline that's less than 300 feet. The highest spot is less than 900 feet at 51 miles away, which calls for 1,300 feet, 600 feet of missing curvature, and we still see visible land.
Still see that point.
Remember, I showed that there was no curvature to the bottom of the island, while I was still at 85.5 feet above sea level. There should have been 185 feet of curvature blocking the 2 points that are less than 100 feet high. From a 30-foot eye level, there should be 25 feet of the top of the island visible, yet we can see down to less than 100 feet.
Another big flock of birds. Wow. Okay. Still see mainland. Let's try to get a little closer just to have an idea how far we can see it. Still see it. I'll look at this at home. Sorry for the shaking. The longer I hold this up, worse it's going to get. Alright, that's good enough. Bring this back in. Now I'm just going to go down to 20 feet. It's really wet here now, but it's still better than ice. I'll stay on this side. And I can get over here. Okay, 20 feet. Oh, did it again, sorry. Alright, let's try that again. Oh, actually, hold on. Hold on, I'm going to put my, get my tripod out. Can't use it coming down the gorge. But let me show you where I just came down. Just came down there. At the top, it's 80. Up there, where I'm standing, is 20. It's really steep going down from the top to about that spot right there. Then it kind of levels out. Okay, get my tripod out.
While I was still at 85.5 feet, looking 41 miles to the mainland, on the left end of the island, there has to be 588 feet of curvature. The land is less than 200 feet above sea level. This means we need to look further inland for that 588 feet. I had to look 54 miles to get to 580 feet. That means I need to recalculate the curvature amount. It is now 1,200 feet of curvature, however, there is no land higher than 900 feet. When I was home, I watched the video and noticed I still see a bit of the mainland 46 miles away. That calls for 800 feet of curvature, yet the land is less than 200 feet. That's 600 feet of missing curvature. Let's look for 800 feet. Okay, found it, but it's 51 miles away, which now demands 1,049 feet. Again, there is no land 1,000 feet high on this line of sight.
Alright. Let's head out there. Yeah, that's 3,000 millimeters. That's full zoom. It also has a ×4 mode.
The top of the point is 273 feet, but notice, we still see where the smaller point starts, going from about 100 feet up to the 273-foot point. There should be 300 feet of curvature, which would block that 273-foot point, yet it isn't.
multiply what you're seeing at that 3,000 millimeters. But I don't really need that right here, I don't think. Now it's starting to look compressed in that mainland.
I have a 30-foot eye level now, and I still see the 90-foot point on the left. It should have 300 feet of curvature. I didn't think I could see any mainland while I was looking at the 3-inch display, but once I was home I could see a tiny bit still visible. The mainland is 46 miles away, closest to the right end of the island. Again, there has to be 300 feet of alleged globe curvature. Port George is less than 200 feet above sea level. Calculators say, a 30-foot eye level looking 46 miles, will encounter 1,029 feet of curvature, yet there is no land that high. Those who still believe the heliocentric programming from childhood need to start using critical thinking to push through their programming. If this is you, take the time to prove the globe you were fed as a child, or at the least try to debunk flat Earth. Laughing and mocking is just childish, but we understand where you're coming from. We went through the same public schools. It's important to remember. I showed there is zero curvature to the island as well as to the mainland, right from the parking at 80 feet above sea level.
I've already debunked the island from the top, 80 feet higher than I am now. Alright. Alright, let's look again. This is about 5'5" eye level.
Looking 28 miles to the 328-foot high island, from a 5.5-foot eye level, should have 421 feet of curvature blocking at 100%. Yet we still see the island. Note that Earth curvature calculators show us we would only see tree tops while standing at 20 feet, yet we are seeing the island from a 5.5-foot eye level.
High in the middle. 250 feet on the right of that split. And the split is 25 feet. And we see almost that much below the split. We're seeing probably about 200 feet of the 328 feet. Now I'm just going to go right down to the sand.
Once my eye level is 20 feet we should no longer see the island. And once I reach the rocks and the sand, I have a 5.5-foot eye level. There should be 420 feet of curvature blocking 100% of the 328-foot high island. Just noticed, this day was April 20th, 2023. Happy 420. I want you to be aware. If we truly lived on the globe model planet, we were all taught as children, we would no longer be able to see that island, as it would be blocked by curvature. Again, 420 feet of curvature, we should not see the island.
There it is. And what we're interested in is this split on the right side. As long as we see the bottom of that split, we know we're seeing 103 feet. Okay. I'm going to keep it on tripod.
And again, it is 103 feet to the bottom of the split, at 225 feet above sea level. We not only see to the bottom of the split, we see a lot of island below that split, and there is a reason for that. The Earth is not a spherical planet, in an infinite vacuum.
Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like this, but I'm going to start walking up. And this beach continues to go down. It's not level, it's going down. The water's still running. And it's running downhill, it's not running uphill.
While I was at Cape Enrage, I was blocked from this wind. It's windier than I thought. It is really messing with the mic.
Okay. Let's just put this here. Hope nobody's looking from behind. I got this rock between my legs so it doesn't get wet. I set it on there.
It is so annoying when the wind does this to the mic.
Still see it?
I will cut the audio or reduce the volume when it does it.
Still see it.
My goal here is to show you how far I can walk out toward the water and still see the island. Remember, we can't see any island here, as it's blocked by more than 400 feet of alleged curvature. The beach is not level, it is continually dropping in elevation. It may be only dropping a few inches at a step, but it still adds up to feet. I doubled the speed of the video, so it may look like I am not walking very far, but I am. I am between 1100 and 2000 feet where the water is now. Although it looks like it's sinking, but it's really refraction compressing the island. Knowing the features of the island, like I have shown you, helps to see things, like the right end of the island has a grassy slope that is brown right now. The slope usually looks more vertical as it comes down to the 60-foot drop-off. Also, that depth of the split looks me shallower. Its compression and the entire island is still visible. I am now at 5 feet above sea level. Remember, Earth curvature calculators tell us that island is blocked by 420 feet of Earth's curvature. I show there is zero curvature to match the distances and land heights. And I showed you that while I was still at 85.5 feet above sea level. There is a 22-foot high rock berm at the arrow. It keeps most storm surges from going over the road and into the marsh. The average tide comes up that rock berm to about 15 feet, where we can see a line going across that wall to the end, where the seaweed-covered rocks go below the line. That line stays level, at about 15 feet, showing it is the beach that is dropping lower. This means I can be standing with my head below sea level, at low tide. Our beaches don't stay level, they keep going lower the further out you walk, until your head would be below sea level. Venice Beach is the same. It goes from 20 feet down to sea level, but it doesn't stop going lower. I see people swimming at these beaches and they are treading water. They can't touch the bottom without diving. There's the island, compressed, and hard to resolve details. That's refraction playing with light and angles. The lower my perspective, the more it intensifies. I showed you the high spot to the bottom of the split is 103 feet. Note, we see below the split. The steep grassy slope is almost compressed flat. By knowing what we are looking at, we can see that most of the island is visible, just compressed.
I could go out here about 2,000 feet. The tide is fully out. I'm not sure if it's turned. Now from here, I can see it physically going downhill here. So, we'll stop here.
The island is almost flat, due to compression caused by refraction. The island should have no longer been visible at 20 feet above sea level, where I stepped out of the gorge. Please, do your own research. I am now below sea level, as the beach has been continually dropping, as I walked out here. My camera is 2 feet off the beach, but it may actually be 4 feet or more below sea level. I easily dropped 4 feet going out 2,000 feet.
Give the shake. That's 20 feet I just walked up. Yeah. I don't see the mainland. I'll check at home. This way.
From an 85.5-foot eye level, looking 28 miles to Isle Earth curvature calculators say there should be 185 feet of curvature. We see the 90-foot point on the left, as well as the 60-foot drop-off on the right. Top that with the fact we can see Nova Scotia 46 miles away looking past the right end of the island and land going further away on the right. 185 feet of alleged curvature can't seem to block the 90 and 60-foot points. And seeing that mainland going to the right of the island is impossible on a globe Earth. Again, this is pointing out that we have all been lied to about where we live and how our world came into existence. When I stepped onto the trail going down the gorge to Dennis Beach, I stopped at an 80-foot eye level, and looked out to Isle 28 miles away. From an 80-foot eye level there should be 193 feet of alleged Earth curvature, just to the island. That disproves curvature to 28 miles from an 80-foot eye level. However, I could see the Nova Scotia mainland, 46 miles away at Port George. There should be 800 feet of curvature just to the shoreline. I had to look 51 miles to find 800 feet. That called for more than 1,000 feet of curvature. There is no 1,000-foot high land on this entire view. Zero curvature over a 51-mile distance, looking from an 80-foot eye level. This is a 3-photo panorama of Isle. I removed a section from the center so I could give you a better view of the points. There are no features on the high spot that matter for debunking curvature at the water. The small point on the left is about 60 feet and goes up to 90 feet high. The point then continues up to 273 feet above sea level. This is where the 328-foot high spot would be, and the last thing to disappear when there is refraction causing mirroring. The split at the right point is more than 25 feet, but I don't know how much more, so I will leave it at 25 feet. The right side of the split is 250 feet above sea level. That makes 103 feet to the bottom of the split, which puts the bottom of the split at 225 feet above sea level. This light area is dry grass, in the summer it's green. You can see the grassy slope, and you can see just how steep it is. It's called slippery slope for a reason. Looking from a distance it's refraction making the island appear to look flattened or compressed. After 5 years of observing this island I can use these points I have shown to know how much of the island is visible. Note, on clear days without refraction we can see the lowest features, like the 2 points. And on calm days where we have no waves or swells I can see those points from the beach. If you are still believing the globe model we were fed as children in public schools, please stop and try to prove curvature. It will lead you right to flat Earth. From the beach with my 5.5-foot eye level there should be 421 feet of curvature blocking the points that are less than 100 feet high. There is no measurable curvature, and I have put my camera right on the sand, or a flat rock and still find zero curvature. That was the first part of my morning, April 20, 2023. I showed you there is no curvature to match the demand for a planet 25,000 miles round. Now let me point out a few things you can think about, things that no longer make any sense to me. Is this even real? How is it possible to make that much water curve into a perfect sphere, when we only see level horizons? And how can the clouds, air and even water form on rocks in an infinite vacuum of ever-expanding space? It's not logical. It makes one think, what if? What if this photo was really just strips of data from high-altitude satellite balloons and transformed into an image? What if none of the heliocentric model is real, and what if gravity isn't real? After all, both of these are still just theory. So why are they still programming children with it? Even Neil deGrasse Tyson doesn't know what it is. The liars give us truth like that. He knows Earth is flat, but that didn't make him a millionaire. Here is an example of what NASA shows us as truth. And due to childhood programming, we believe it without question. Notice anything strange about the photos? The landmass, United States, is 2 different sizes. How is that possible on a spherical planet 25,000 miles in circumference? It isn't possible, but our decade-long public school indoctrination, and years of daily programming, has messed with our ability to think critically. So we don't think about it or question it. And again, I need to point out that these are not even photos. They are strips of land, taken from planes, and high-altitude balloons. There is no outer space, so we can know these can't be from space. Again, it's part of our childhood indoctrination through public schools, and lifelong programming to reinforce these childhood lies, designed to hide God our Creator. Ever heard the phrase, truth hurts? Well, it can sting a bit, but I'd rather learn the truth than live in a lie, without even knowing it. After a lifetime of indoctrination and daily reinforcing, truth can be a hard pill to swallow. I was 64 when I learned the truth about 9/11, which led me to NASA and the Apollo missions, which led me to Eric Dubay's Flat Earth reply. Our teachers were indoctrinated in the same schools we were. Their teachers, and even their teachers, were all programmed from childhood, just like you and me. Billions and billions of people were taught these lies, and went to their graves believing the lies wholeheartedly. Our moon is a great example of something completely impossible, and ridiculous, yet we all believed what we were told, without question. We learned it in public school, and we believed it so strongly that few of us ever feel the need to question it, let alone try to prove any of it. Yet these same people will come to our channels only to show their programming. Here's an example. People have been seeing this same face of the moon since the beginning of recorded history. And we never think just how impossible it is. Note how much smaller the moon is compared to Earth. Also note we only ever see one face of the moon. Let's say you and I are standing directly under the center of the moon while it's directly over our heads. It's a full moon and we can see the entire thing. That should be easy as it happens all the time. Now I want you to transport yourself 2,000 miles in any direction, and then I want you to make a huge circle going around the moon while you are 2,000 miles from my point under the center of the moon. Now explain why you can't see craters I can't see while standing directly under the ball-shaped moon. You still believe all the things from public school, without ever trying to prove any of it. We were children, and we still believed in magic and fantasies. That programmed child is still inside of you. You have never woken up long enough to test any of it for truth. The heliocentric model Earth is childhood indoctrination, because no sane adult would believe it, as it can never be proven, only believed. The goal of our controllers is to hide God our Creator as early in life as possible. Earth is not a perfectly round ball shape, like our childhood programming taught us. Turns out the heliocentric model was an evil plan, to hide God from children, so they are more easily controlled as adults. It's called childhood indoctrination, and it's working great.